Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Tinnitus. If you don't know me, I'm Caris. I'm 22 years old and I've had tinnitus my whole life. I've spoke a lot about different things to do with tinnitus and I kind of got to the point where I was like, oh my god, what else should I talk about? So I put on my Instagram story a little question box thing and you guys have given me all of your questions. I've got so many, it took ages to write all of these out. There's been some really good questions and so many that have made me look back to when I first started suffering with tinnitus and first started realising that, oh, this is not normal, what is it? I kind of have realised that I've not gone really back to the basics, and some of these questions have made me feel very refreshed and made me feel like, okay, I need to answer these because I know a lot of you who are just dealing with tinnitus are probably wondering the same thing. Also, I've dyed my hair. I have naturally blonde hair, but every time I've tried to put like brown dye in, or I don't know, like black dye, red dye, it lasts for one wash and it just comes out even though it's permanent. But I thought, you know what, the one thing that won't wash out my hair is bleach. So yeah, this is my new look. Nice for the summer, I guess. Anyway, let me get on to the questions. I'm gonna answer as many as I possibly can. First of all, I'm not a medical professional. I've just had tinnitus my whole life and I've been on my tinnitus advocacy journey for about 2 years now. And I've spoke to some very inspirational people, so many people with tinnitus and many experts in the field as well. Before I get started, I just want to say a huge thank you to Duality for sponsoring this video again. Every time I speak to Dragos, who works with Duality, it is the most refreshing and exciting thing because their mission is to help people with tinnitus find out the right treatment options for them and help them understand that habituation is possible and that there are things to help you manage. If you're interested about Tinnitus G1, which is Duality's product, you can head to the Find a Clinic link in my description below, and yeah, it will take you to their homepage, it will tell you all about their mission, what they have to offer, and they're just a really good all-round company for tinnitus. This question is from Caitlin. Does your tinnitus get louder when you watch TV? Personally, no, it doesn't affect me when I watch TV, but when I do go to the cinema, I do have a spike afterwards, but I've just got to prepare myself for that moment. I think if you're worried about like watching TV or going to like the cinema or anything like that, you've just got to prepare yourself and you've got to know what affects you, what gives you a spike, because no one is the same with tinnitus. You can watch something on really low volume, you might get a spike, or you can watch something on really high volume and you might not even get a spike. It's all down to you. The next question is from Lisa. How to survive loud places such as birthdays, celebrations or weddings without panicking? Okay, I think this is a really good one and I think everyone goes through a stage of panic. And when I first started really suffering with tinnitus, I kind of let it stop me from socialising at uni. So I've spoke about this before, in lockdown my tinnitus got worse and I feel like it's because my perception increased. And after lockdown, I basically enrolled at university and I was so scared that my tinnitus was going to impact my social life, my studies. I feel like it did stop me. Now I'm habituated, I've changed my mindset. And basically you've got to prepare yourself for these situations. You've got to have like a lifeline in your pocket. And for me, my lifeline is my hearing protection. Here, I use loop earplugs. I mean, you can use any on the market, to be honest, as long as they've got like a high decibel protection rating. I think that's what it's called. I think mine are about like 17 decibels. I think that's pretty good for me. I mean, I don't get spikes anymore when I go to loud environments. They're always good to carry around when I'm going out and I don't know what's gonna come. You know, if I go to a pub or something, they might have music blaring and I can just quickly grab them, put them in my ears and I'm on my way, you know what I mean? Also, I'd say if you're worried about like socialising with people at these events and you're worried about like not being able to hear them because of your tinnitus, I think it's probably worth going to an audiologist to see if you're suited for hearing aids. Because for me, I didn't actually know the extent of my hearing loss until quite recently. I have moderate mid-range hearing loss and since being set up with hearing aids, I've got my life back really. It's really helped me in social situations and I don't wear them every single day, only on days when my tinnitus is a little bit louder or I know I'm going to like a social environment with a lot of people talking and I want to really like tune into them and like, you know, make the most out of a conversation and actually enjoy one, because half the time in the past I would just lip read and I can still lip read now pretty well, to be honest. It's kind of the perk of, you know, having hearing loss and tinnitus, like in environments where you can't hear things or TV's like really turned down, I can kind of understand them pretty well. But it does get to a point sometimes where you can't hear anything and it can really disrupt you. So I completely get the panic. But I think if you have like a little plan of action and you have some tools to help you along the way, it will really help you get your confidence back up. This question is from Andre. Do you still have moments when you feel sad or disappointed even though you're habituated? Yes, I do. I do, and habituation isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I would class habituation as no longer having a negative response to your tinnitus. And I do still have those moments where I do have these negative responses, but I think it is just natural. It's a part of life. And I think a lot of people glorify habituation as, oh yeah, you're always going to be happy. You're never going to have a bad day. Your tinnitus, you'll never hear it. You'll never tune into it. And I think that's completely untrue. I think what habituation is in my eyes is, yes, I no longer have a negative response 95% of the time, but those 5% of the time, like, you've got to have that mindset where it doesn't put you back down. Because habituation is a complete mindset shift. So rather than me giving into my tinnitus all the time and being really like angry about it and thinking, oh, this is going to ruin my day, I now have these positive affirmations and have these positive intentions in a day that really just spur me on and make me feel a lot more confident and happy with what's going on. You know, it's a part of me. I don't let it define me. I don't let it take over my life. And although I talk about it quite a lot to you guys, it doesn't get me down in any way. Like, I'm not really tuning into it unless I do just sit there and just think, if I do that, if I listen to my tinnitus in silence, it gets louder, and that's just because your perception is increasing. I do have those days, but I think that is completely normal, and if you're having those days on your journey of tinnitus, don't get yourself down about it. It's just a normal part of having tinnitus, and it's a normal part of the journey ultimately, but each moment of like sadness that you have, it will become a lot more easier, and I feel like you've got to have a low to be able to build your strengths back up. I really like this one actually, because this is something I always was curious about in my worst days of tinnitus. So this question is from Lacey, and she says, I see a lot of talk in Facebook support groups about Ginko Boba. Does it help? Well, let's have a look. So I think it doesn't help at all, and I think it's just one of them things where it's like a herbal remedy and it's claiming to help tinnitus. You go onto the Tinnitus UK efficacy checker and you click on that. Just type that in on Google. There's a little search box here where you can just type in what you're curious about. So let's type in Ginko. Let me just type in Ginko because I don't know how to spell Boba. Okay, so straight away it comes up with, oh, Ginko Boba, okay? It says there's evidence of harm if you use this, and there's evidence that it is not effective, and it's classed as a dietary supplement, but there is not really much evidence to say that diet can actually help you with tinnitus. And is it recommended? No. But yeah, it tells you about what everyone claims this treatment can be, and yeah, apparently it's a small tablet as well, combined with other vitamins and minerals, but who's to say there is no vitamins and minerals in that? Do you know what I mean? I see it all over Facebook support groups as well. You're not wrong for asking that question, because I think everyone is curious about it, and if I didn't know any better, I probably would have purchased it myself. And so make sure you always go onto the Tinnitus UK website and go on the efficacy checker, and you can see what you're curious about and see if there is any evidence of harm or evidence that it works, because most of the time it's not going to work unless you have like tinnitus as a symptom of something, but there is no cure for tinnitus, and that's that. This is from Melina. She says, do you think one day we will find a cure? You don't know what's around every corner, but I think it is not in your best interest to constantly be on the lookout for a cure. I think if there is a cure, you'll know about it, it'll be on the news. You don't need to search for this cure. But what I would say to that is that I mean, you just don't know. And I guess for some people you can cure your tinnitus because it can be a symptom of something. So for example, some people might have Meniere's disease, and if they get that treated, the tinnitus might go as a symptom. Or if you have really bad congestion, tinnitus could be a symptom, just temporary, and then once you clear that congestion, you're all good to go. Your tinnitus is no longer there. But for me, I've had tinnitus my whole life, and I'm not gonna place my bets on a cure coming around the corner anytime soon. But you know, habituation is the next best thing. It's your mindset that really helps you feel confident and happy, and you don't need a cure. Does your tinnitus cause persistent ear pain, and how can I resolve it? I think if you're experiencing ear pain, you should definitely go to your audiologist, doctor, ENT, anyone like that, just an expert in the field, because it could be something a lot more like in there, I don't know, something going a bit wrong. I think if anything causes you pain, you've got to get it checked out, because I think there'll be a solution for that. You'll be able to get that sorted. And tinnitus is probably being a symptom of that, to be honest. But for me, I don't get any ear pain whatsoever. And I think you shouldn't, full stop. Definitely go to your doctor and they'll be able to help you resolve that. Does air pressure affect sound volume? That question is from Melina. I would say, I don't know, personally. I think it's down to everyone's different experiences. I think a lot of people are scared of flying when it comes to tinnitus, because obviously our ears pop and it's the air pressure that changes everything going on in there. But I've spoke to an audiologist called Anna Pugh, and she says that if you just suck on a sweet, that's going to regulate the pressure a bit more. Those aren't her words quote for quote, but I will link the video that she put onto Instagram. It's on the Otto Instagram page. She basically talks about saying if you've got a sweet or if you've got like earplugs and things like that, you're on your way really. It's not going to cause any damage or anything like that. Check in with an audiologist if you're a little bit concerned, just to get that peace of mind. But I don't think you should ever stop tinnitus from, you know, going abroad, going on the plane, because it's only going to be a temporary thing anyway, and everyone has their ears pop, so I wouldn't worry too much. If there is a spike, I think it'll just be temporary, so don't worry. Do spikes have to last for only a few seconds? No, they can vary completely. I've had a spike caused by loud noise exposure that lasted for like 3 weeks, and that was the worst thing ever. I didn't wear my hearing protection. It was terrible. I stood next to a speaker the whole time. I was basically asking for a spike at this point, and even if I didn't have tinnitus, I was asking to get tinnitus, because that could not have been good for the everything going on in there. But yeah, spikes can last from anywhere between, like, I don't know, a day to 2 months probably, but you've just got to ride it out. And I think, again, it's all about your perception, it's all about your mindset. If you wake up in the morning and you're constantly checking for your spike to see if it's still there, it's going to be a constant domino effect of going down into a spiral of like sadness and depression. I've been there, and in that moment where I had like a 3-week spike, I would wake up and I would just check, and it would ruin my day. Okay, if you just get up and just don't think about it and try and make new pathways in your brain, new routines, you're not going to think about it and you're going to feel a lot more happier. And then eventually you'll just think about it and you'll be like, oh, my tinnitus isn't even as loud anymore. Like, it's gone back to its original volume. But spikes always do subside pretty much 99% of the time. And I've spoke to so many people with spikes, and then I've checked in with them and they say, yeah, it's gone, you were right. Like, it does go. Like, just give it some time. The more you stress, the louder I think it will become, because stress can impact your tinnitus. And in my case, stress really does impact it. Okay, Carly, this is a brilliant question. I'm not going to say this person's name that she's referring to, but I think you can all guess. So this person says, have you heard of how do you feel about it? Yes, I have heard of this person, and I really don't feel great about it at all. And to be honest, when I think about this person and what they post, it angers me, it boils my blood. They're claiming that like eating raw meat and things like that will cure your tinnitus. No, it won't. Okay, it won't cure your tinnitus. They're claiming that mold causes tinnitus. First of all, mold shouldn't be in your house anyway, but that's not going to cure your tinnitus if you like get rid of every bit of mold that you come across. I don't know, but this person, they have the most ridiculous claims, and they're basically selling a course saying like, okay, if you eat meat, if you do this, your tinnitus will go away. Bullshit. Okay, absolute bullshit. And it riles me up inside, to be honest. But you just need to know that there is no cure for tinnitus. Obviously, eating a healthier lifestyle is going to benefit you so much. It's going to change your mindset. You're going to be more positive. But eating raw meat every single day, that's probably not good for you. Just don't listen to them. Anyone that says they've got this course that's going to cure your tinnitus, a load of shit. But if anyone says, oh yeah, I've got a course and it's going to help you change your mindset, that's good. If you need that extra support, that's brilliant. But yeah, nah, I can't stand that guy. I really can't. Swiftly on to the next question. This question is from Iris, and she says, do you ever experience fullness or a pulsing sensation in the ears? Sorry, pushing sensation in the ears. It scares me more than the sound. I actually don't, but I have experienced like these sensations where it does feel like a heartbeat, and that is called pulsatile tinnitus. I only have ever had that for like 2 seconds, and that was quite recently. If you experience pulsatile tinnitus, it can be a bit of a warning sign that there's something like a little bit wrong going on in your auditory system. I don't know the ins and outs because I'm not an expert, but we have like a big vein that's underneath the eardrum, and that could be something to do with that. And the heartbeat that you're hearing is like obviously your fluids moving in time with your heartbeat, and I think you should not be hearing that, and definitely go to an audiologist, ENT. And if you've got fullness, it could be congestion, but please do not take my word for it. Definitely go get that peace of mind, and you'll be able to get like a treatment plan that works for you. I think this name is pronounced Gian. Apologies if it's not pronounced like that. But can it get louder and stay forever? There is no telling, okay? There is no telling if your tinnitus is going to get louder the next day. There's no telling if it's going to stay forever. I've had tinnitus my whole life, but there is no reason why it couldn't stop tomorrow. Like, I don't have a cause for my tinnitus. I presume it's hereditary and something to do with my hearing loss, but you can't just think to yourself, oh yeah, my tinnitus is going to be loud and stay forever, because it's going to get you down. And I think if you're experiencing a spike, just remember that that will subside, but you can't just completely say to yourself, oh yeah, it's going to stay forever, it's going to be so loud, this loud forever, because I think the more stress you add to it, the worse it's going to be. I'll just say keep trying to live in the moment and do things that impact you positively and make you feel happy, and don't get yourself down with negative like sentences like that, because I think you can really go on like a spiral thing. You know, I've done it in the past where I've been like, oh yeah, this is going to last forever, I'm never going to be happy. But trust me, you can be happy even if you have it your whole life. I am living proof of that. And I can hear it now over the top of me talking if I tune into it. Like, it's still there, it's not going away anytime soon, I don't think. But, you know, I'm not ruling out that tomorrow my tinnitus could disappear. So, you know, you've just got to live in the moment, be present, and, you know, try to change these thoughts into more positive ones. But this one is from Caitlin, and she says, have you ever worked a job with your tinnitus and did it affect your job? Yes, I currently work at the aquapark in the UK, and I basically do graphic designs for them. When I first started working there, like it was all good, it was fine. Like, I got to go out near the water, everyone's screaming, it's a good masker for my tinnitus really. But when I sit in the office, it can get really loud. Like, my tinnitus can, you know, it's not pleasant to sit in silence. And although I'm habituated, I much prefer having sounds on, because it just makes my life a lot more comfortable. And I don't think there's any shame in that whatsoever. Like, you can be habituated and listen to sounds to make you happy. It's about finding that happiness and that balance, that peace. So when I sit in the office, I ask, oh, can I just put some headphones on? And they completely understand. I think communication is key when it comes to being in the workplace. And I think tinnitus is such a great talking point and a great icebreaker if you're starting a new job. Like, if you're just saying to someone, oh, do you mind if I just put some music on? They would be more than happy to say, yeah, sure. If they say no, you'll be like, well, I have tinnitus actually, and just elaborate on that, because I think it would help them get to know you more, and it will make you feel a lot more confident, and you're not hiding anything. You know, it's just that sense of security and that comfort. This question is from Emma Louise. How would you describe a tinnitus slump? I loved your last video on it, and I think I'm in one now. Good question. So for me, a tinnitus slump is when I have like a spike, or if I'm really deep in my tinnitus one day, like I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out, my tinnitus is so loud. I would class that as a tinnitus slump, or one where it's like your tinnitus is there but it's making you feel drained. And I think it's very easy to feel drained when it comes to tinnitus, simply because we're unconsciously listening to it all the time. Like, give yourself time to have a little nap, give yourself time to, you know, relax, unwind, nourish your body in these moments, because, you know, a tinnitus slump is normal. It's part of the journey with tinnitus, and we're always going to have them, but each time we have one, we're going to get stronger, we're going to get more resilient, we're going to feel a lot better and find more coping mechanisms at work. When you're in a slump with tinnitus, I think it's pretty much the same as having a slump in life. You know, everyone has a slump, everyone gets down some days and they don't know what to do with themselves, or you have days where you just don't leave the house all day, you feel like you just slumped, you can't do anything. I think it's very normal, and you've just got to keep reassuring yourself that the slump will pass and you'll feel a lot more resilient and happier in the future. You just need to keep nourishing your body. Positive affirmations and positive intentions will make you feel so much more confident and more in control. But make sure you get some rest, because I feel like getting a good night's sleep can just refresh your brain instantly. I think, you know, sleep is a massive thing. Francesco says, are Tenerity G1s good for sleeping? Yes, amazing, so good for sleeping. I actually haven't been out the house much with them, just because I don't feel like I need it personally, but they're so good for sleeping, and I think they're best for sleeping because it's bone conducting. So when you have your head on a pillow, like, you usually can't hear like white noise that's playing on your phone or a speaker, but with Tenerity G1, the like the music, not the music, the white noise that's playing, it goes through your bones so you can actually hear it despite having your head on a pillow. And they're so comfortable, they don't move. Literally, I've tried so hard to like pull them off in my sleep. They don't, and I move around so much. It's like a medical adhesive, so they stick there. They stick on the hard part behind your ears, of your skull. Amazing for sleeping, amazing. Tara says, do you worry about your future because of your tinnitus? Not anymore, Tara. I do not, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but I don't worry about my tinnitus anymore. I used to feel like it was going to completely take over my life. I thought I would never achieve anything with tinnitus, but in a few months' time, I actually graduate from uni, and I never thought I would. Like, in my second year, I was so in a spiral with tinnitus. I felt terrible, and it was just my mental health that wasn't thriving. But once you change your mindset, you know, you get a better mental health and you feel a lot better in yourself. You do believe truly that you can achieve anything despite tinnitus. It's not even a question. If you're worried about your future with tinnitus, just remember that you can literally do anything. And if you search up people on Google, people with tinnitus, famous people with tinnitus, you'll see Chris Martin on there, will.i.am, all these people that have gone on to achieve big things despite tinnitus. And there's so many musicians out there with it, but they don't let tinnitus stop them. They actually use it to like power them, motivate them, because you can get through anything. And if you're truly enjoying something, nothing should stop you. Just honestly, don't let tinnitus stop you doing anything, because you can achieve no matter what. Another question from Emma Louise: does tinnitus definitely get worse as we age, or is that not 100% fact? I think it's more common as we age. I think it's most common with people over the age of 60 to have tinnitus, simply because your auditory system is aging. There's probably been prolonged noise exposure throughout your life, all different elements like that. But if you're protecting your hearing and, you know, you're nourishing your body, you're drinking enough water and stuff, I don't think there's any huge possibility of your tinnitus, you know, getting worse with age. I think it's more common with age, but I don't think it's more worse. It's definitely to do with a lot of lifestyle factors, I would say. But in terms of it getting worse with age, for me, I've had tinnitus since I was a child, and I'm pretty sure it's just been exactly the same. My perception's just increased. But even if it does get worse, if your mindset is different and you've changed it to a more positive one, it's not going to bother you. It's not. And if you have the tools and techniques and things to help you get through these challenging times, there's no worry about it if it does get worse, because your mindset is so powerful and confident to get through things. It's not going to bother you. So yeah, just keep positive with things like that, and try not to have them thoughts, because I think if we think like, oh, will my tinnitus be like really loud tomorrow, or, you know, it gets us down. But I think that's a really good question. Bria and Camille have very similar questions. They both are referring to medications and if it can create spikes with tinnitus, particularly antibiotics from Camille. But yeah, it is known that tinnitus can cause spikes from certain medications. I'm actually pretty sure my mum said she had a spike from medication. So yeah, it's definitely not uncommon, and I think once you stop this medication, your tinnitus will go along with it. It's just a symptom of that. But, you know, in those moments, definitely communicate with a healthcare professional, let them know what's going on, and if it is really bad, then, you know, just stop that medication and they'll probably have an alternative for you. But yeah, it's definitely not uncommon. Do you have hyperacusis, or have you come across others who have it? I personally don't, but I have like sensitive hearing, so when someone talks a bit too loud near my ear, it's gonna like hurt, but I don't know if that's normal. I guess it probably is. But yeah, right, I have came across people with hyperacusis, and I know that it can make living with tinnitus a lot more challenging, because you've got like the two different things interacting with each other, and it can be, I don't know, it can be a bit more difficult. But from my perspective, you can habituate to pretty much anything. And I think with hyperacusis, you've got to be a little bit more careful. You've got to wear hearing protection, but definitely talk to your audiologists, healthcare providers that you've got, and just let them know your struggles with hyperacusis and what you want like helping out with. Because I think, again, with hyperacusis, in the same instance as tinnitus, it's going to be an individual experience, and what might set someone's hyperacusis off, it might be different for someone else, so like different noises for different people kind of thing. I'm not too sure. I do not have hyperacusis myself, but I can imagine it is a challenging situation when you have both of them, but I have spoke to a lot of people with hyperacusis and tinnitus, and they do get to a place of habituation. You're not out of reach of habituation at all. Like, you will be able to get to a point where you are living happily. Like, anyone can do it with anything. Caitlin says, is it ever hard when people don't understand what you're going through? It can be, yes, but I think that's where communication comes in. And like I said previously, I think tinnitus is a brilliant talking point, and I can talk about it forever, obviously. I've got many videos about tinnitus, and I do truly love talking about it, and I do love how I've kind of made it my purpose to talk about it more. It is a very misunderstood condition. It's invisible, you don't know who has it, but 1 in 7 people in the UK do. So if you talk about it, the likelihood is that person is probably going to have someone who actually has tinnitus themselves. But whenever someone says to me, oh yeah, it can't be that bad, like it's just a ringing, I try and compare it to different things like in everyday life. So for example, I've had a spike so loud that it was louder than my phone on maximum volume, and when I put it into perspective like that, it helps people understand a lot more. And if I just refer back to like my worst days and explain to them, if they really want to know like how it made me feel, then it gives them a better sense of understanding. Like, it's a toll on your mental health, and I think talking about mental health in regard to tinnitus is very useful when it comes to getting people to understand what you're going through. But you know, people do say to me, oh yeah, I feel sorry for you for having tinnitus because you're so young. And you know, I don't want people to feel sorry for me. That's why I say to them, look, like, I'm habituated now, I'm absolutely fine. And to be honest, it's made me a better person. It's made me more positive. I've opened doors for CBT that's going to help me in other situations in life, not just tinnitus. I feel like I've found more happiness in life than I ever would have without tinnitus. And that's why I made that previous video about how tinnitus has changed me in a more positive way, because it's made me look at things differently. It's made me a more positive person all round. So, you know, when people don't understand, just explain to them. And, you know, it's a great talking point. I've actually got through all of the questions, and what a pleasure that was, because some of these questions I completely forgot about that I asked myself, and I was always worried about myself. So look at all of them. Thank you so much for all of them questions. I'll probably do more of the videos like this in the future because I really truly enjoyed doing that. Yeah, I just hope that my insight has helped you feel a lot more positive and calm, because there's no need to worry about things when it comes to like living with tinnitus. Like, once you get checked out to see if there's like nothing wrong with you, and you rule out any like dangerous things going on in your brain or like in your auditory system, you're all good to go. You know, if you've got tinnitus and there is nothing harming you from it, you can live a happy life. It's not completely out of the question. I always thought it was, but I'm here now. So yeah, like, it's just been really great talking through all that. So yeah, I hope that all answered your questions well. And to be honest, if you have any other questions, just put them in the comment section. I'll just always be on there going through them. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. And if you're interested in being on my mailing list, okay, I made a mailing list because I've got some amazing things going on in my mind, and some amazing things that I want to get on paper and to share with you guys in the future, because doing like tinnitus, like advocacy, has truly gave me a sense of purpose in life, and I want to do it for the rest of my life and, you know, actually make a living off it. I just want a job revolving around tinnitus, and I've got this vision for something, okay? And I won't spam you with emails or anything like that, but if you sign up to my mailing list, when I do eventually have something ready, you'll be the first to know. But, you know, thank you very much for watching and always being there to support me and just making me so happy to do this, because I want to help you guys just as much as you've helped me get through my journey. But yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.